Hey everyone. Wow, a whole year nearly over again. 2021 has been a rather strange year, to say the least, for various reasons. Not just because of, pandemic, but also because, for me personally, a lot of things have changed for the better, but some things also for the worse. It's just some work related stuff, which, in turn also relates to, well, COVID and such. So I'm not going to go into details about it, but let's just say that next year I have to more or less start fresh in certain areas again, which is conflicting, but also gives me opportunities to, start over and find new people, a new area, a new field to work in, and new opportunities. It's just a bit uncertain at the moment, so uh, that is my personal stuff out of the way. It'll be different, but I think I'll be fine. Stream wise, though, nothing will change. I will still keep streaming, I will still have fun, I will still upload to YouTube, so that's my personal little update for you. Let's get into the games that I actually streamed this year. And let me give you my thoughts on all of them. And also I'll give a little bit of a sneak peek what I will stream in the next year. Some of the first few games that will happen in the first few months of the year. So let's go into it. The first game that I streamed this year was the Pokemon White Randomized. That was a bit of a field trip because that game is long. And the randomizer was brutal in this one. I had a very, very horrible seed. Could barely get a running team. I had it like near the very end. I think close to gem 7 or so, 6 or 7. I finally had something working. Good God, it took forever, but I did it, and I had a lot of fun with the musicals. I love the musicals. You can see the whole playthrough if you want, but my God, I had so many different team members. Normally in a randomizer, I have like 6, 7, maybe 8. But in this one, I had like 14 or 15, I think. And they all had to get swapped because they evolved into something crummy and they had horrible movesets, so that was fun. I will probably do another randomizer next year. I don't know which game though, because I've done Gen 3, 4, 5. I could do Black, White, or White 2, but I never actually played those. I would first want to like play them legit. I might do Wait, have I done Emerald? I don't know. I might do Fire. Wait, I have done Fire Red. Uh, I'm not sure. I may do Ruby or Sapphire. I'll figure something out. I will do at least one randomizer next year, probably, because I just like doing them. But yeah, you will see a randomizer pop up at some point again. After that, I revisited Aethra Chronicles, one of my all-time favorite DOS RPGs. Barely anyone knows about that game. And I don't get a whole lot of comments on that game, but when I do get one, it's usually from someone who actually knows about it. It's just a nice little chat. So thank you everyone for commenting on that playthrough because it's very precious to me. And uh, I wish that this game got more recognition because for what it is a fantastic RPG. It is, of course, it's flawed, but it's still good. It's enjoyable, it has replay value, it has many different classes, it has many different areas. There is a bit of a random factor to the game in terms of looting, so it's just good. It's just good old-fashioned RPG fun. I like it. I grew up with it, of course, it has a bit of a nostalgia factor to me, but even aside from that, I think it's just a really fun, well-polished RPG made with a very small team. So yeah, if you haven't played Aether Chronicles and you like old RPGs in the DOS era, check it out. It's great, in my opinion. After that, I played for the very first time on my Twitch, so also on my YouTube, I guess. I played a game along with a different streamer. In this case, it was my good friend Bonemer from Finland. You can find him on Twitch as well. I think I posted a link to his Twitch page in any of the videos for the Resident Evil playthrough. I played Resident Evil 5 co-op with him, and it was great. We both didn't play the game before. We had very little experience with Resident Evil as a whole, and yet we did fairly okay. There were some deaths. There were some crummy moments where we kind of failed, but overall, we did pretty good. We had a good team going, two different attack styles. I went for the sniper sort of fighting style. He went for the close with the shotgun. So I think we did pretty okay. It was really fun to do. I may do another one of those types of games with a co-op with a streamer at some point. I don't know what. I'm not really at home with good co-op games, but I'm definitely always up for suggestions and looking for new things. So you may see a project like that pop up again at some point. That was really fun. I need to look into finding something else to play, but it will happen sooner or later. But yeah, that was a very, very different experience for me. I never played anything in that style. Like, I've played many, many, many games solo. Hardly anything co-op? Well, at least streaming something co-op. I've played lots of co-op games with my sister, or at home, or with a good friend, but never in a streaming format. That was really fun to have like two different webcams on the same page as we played, seeing the reactions of each streamer while something happens. It felt really dynamic and really awesome and really different. So I'm looking forward to finding a project again like that where I can have someone alongside me to play through the game. That will be really interesting. After that, I played Legend of Grimrock 2, a fantastic dungeon crawler type of RPG. I didn't like just play Legend of Grimrock 2, I played the Magic of Grimrock mod for Legend of Grimrock 2, which adds a lot of cool spells and extra bosses and quality of life changes. And even though Legend of Grimrock 2, the base game, is great, I think the mod adds so much more to make it even better. I love the new magic system where you have a spell book where you can just select a spell from and it keeps track of everything you've found so far. I love the little sidebars next to each character where you can have items stored like potions and rocks and gear and other sorts of stuff just for quick access. I loved the reworked skill system, and I loved the extra little puzzle areas that got added. Like every dungeon had like one or two or even more little areas added where you needed certain spells to access gear. I think that was really, really cool. Enjoyed it immensely, and I really wish there was a Legend of Grimrock 3. There isn't, but there are a lot of other mods for this game and the base game out there. So I might play another Legend of Grimrock game at some point, like a good mod. Not sure. I do prefer to move on to different games if there's no like proper sequel. But who knows? I may come back to this franchise at some point and just pick a really, really good mod. But there's so many out there I have to research which ones are really worth playing. After Legend of Grimrock 2, I revisited actually Jackrabbit. I played it for YouTube a good while ago, I think like 6 or 7 years ago. So I decided it was time to actually stream it on Twitch. It was relatively short. I think it was only 2 or 3 streams long. But I mean, come on, it's a classic DOS shooter. And who doesn't know Jackrabbit? If you grew up in the 90s, you know who Jackrabbit is. Corny, cheesy, kind of like a bit of a Sonic clone, but still a bit different, and I like it for just what it is. I will probably play the sequel at some point, because I have not streamed one at all yet. It's on my list, my giant to-do list. It will come at some point. Possibly with a friend, because the game does have co-op. After that, I revisited Sam & Max Hit the Road. A very quirky and funny little point and click based off the Sam & Max comics and series. I got that game for my DOS collection a long time ago. It was one of the first games that I no, I didn't buy it myself. I think I got it for my birthday or even Christmas or something. It was fun. It was silly. It was very different. The humor is very like fast and like the humor is in the dialogue. There is some slapstick humor there, but most of the humor is in the dialogue. It's very witty. It's very funny. It's very like just the way they talk is very different than most humor games that you see. It's I really can't explain it. It's best to just look it up. Look up a little video or look up or read up a comic or look at the series. It's just the way that they like pack the humor into their dialogue, the back and forth between Sam and Max and the other characters, it's really something else. It's very different. It's very unique. I love it. It's silly. It's a really funny game. And there are more games in the Sam Max franchise. I think there's a couple on Steam. There's also a TV series, which was also great. And like I said, there's some comics as well. If you like this sort of thing, like you can really get lost in how much there is. There's surprisingly a lot of content for Sam and Max out there. So if you like this game, look up more, because there is more out there if you wish to play it. Um, After Sam and Max, my sis and we played Mystical Ninja 2 starring Goemon together. Now that's a game that we have played a lot of times, like an insane amount of times when we were kids. That was really fun. It was basically childhood nostalgia all over again, and we went through it rather well. There were some hiccups here and there, but all in all, I'd say we did pretty dang good. Yes, we died a lot, but the game is rather brutal at times. But still, fantastic game. If you like the Legend of Ninja, if you like the Mystical Ninja series, and you have a friend who also does, this game is fantastic to play along together. It has a co-op mode. You can have 4 different characters with 4 different abilities, and it's just really fun. It's silly too. It is difficult though, so the game, especially like near the end, there are some very brutal stages. So be prepared to face some difficulties. But I'd say all in all, it is fantastic. The soundtrack is amazing as well. It was really fun to play that again. After that, I played Terranigma, which is a game I never played before, but it was recommended to me a long time ago by a YouTube viewer. It was the last in the Quintet series because I played Soul Blazer, I played Illusion of Gaia, and I played Robotrek. Were all made by the same company. And this one, Terranigma, apparently is the last one in that company who made that game. And it was really good. Like, it was a classic overview RPG in a similar style to Soul Blaze, a similar style to Illusion of Gaia, honestly, but it was really well done. I loved the music, the story was engaging, it was so interesting to start with a blank world and basically fill it in as you went along, like with the plants and the animals and the humans and evolving humans and learning new technology and everything and trading. It was really fun. The bosses were brutal, there was lots of gear to get, many side quests. It was fantastic. I really love playing that game. If you haven't played Terranigma yet, go play it. You don't have to play any of the other games. They're not really connected. It's just a different world, but the same idea of like building up a world. Like all of the games have something like you start with nothing and then you slowly build the world. But you don't have to play any of the other games. This game is just fantastic on its own. It's a really solid SNES RPG. Go play it if you like SNES RPGs. If you haven't already, it's really good. After that, a group of friends and myself, we played through Ace Attorney Miles Edgeworth Investigations, which was also really fun. Took like 14 streams or something. It was long. But yeah, all the Ace Attorney games are dang long. So that was really fun. With like, I had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people help me out because there's so many different voices. And we had like different voice actors for different people, and it was just really fun. I liked that a lot. We'll probably do, I think Dual Destinies is next. We'll probably do that like sometime around April or May. Not sure when, because I don't really do these quickly one after each other. I always plan these, and there's a lot of time involved where we like pick roles and practice, and it takes time. And I have to find a moment where like everyone involved is also able to join. So this is always something that takes a long ass time to like prepare. So can't say exactly when, but if you come to my Twitch every week or so, or even every 2 weeks, you will see it pop up at some time during the next year. After that, I came across Super Amazing Wagon Adventure, which is a really silly game on Steam, which is like a few bucks. It's really cheap, but it's so silly. You have 3 characters, you go into a wagon, and then stuff happens, and it's all random. And at first, you're like, oh, I'm just killing deer or shooting bandits and collecting food. It's pretty standard. And then you're in a tornado with buffalo, or you're falling down a cliff, or you're in a river with alligators and sharks and jellyfish. Or then you get shot into space, or you're going back in time. And there's so much random crap happening, and every run is different. There's different cards, there's different events that happen that influence the rest of the run. There's so much random crap going on, it's so funny. Especially with Twitch, where you can have like 3 characters picked from the chat, and they can like sort of decide what to do. Like, do you want to buy this gun? Do you want to buy that gun? Do you want to buy food? Yes or no? Do you want to buy health? Yes or no? And it's so silly. If you like a game where you can have some sort of interaction with your audience on Twitch, and you want to have just silly fun for a short hour or so, because a run is like usually like 20 minutes or so. It's a really short game, but it has lots of replayability. It's just fun. I recommend playing that if you ever want to find a game that's just quick and relatively easy and just silly to play with a few people who are watching. After that, for Halloween, I played through Eternal Darkness, Anthony's Requiem, which was the first time I ever played that game. I've heard of it before, and I've seen some footage of it a long time ago, and I thought it was really interesting with the whole insanity mechanic. Was a really interesting game. I was expecting it to be a very gory, like brutal horror game. It wasn't. Like, sure, there was some scary imagery and like skeletons and people dying, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was really enjoyable to go through. It was a pretty damn good game too. Like, it had good voice acting, it had good music, it had lots of like little secrets to find here and there. And the game apparently has replayability, where I got one ending and you have to play through it twice more with the different gods to get the best ending. So I might come back to that game at some point and play the other paths, even though I'm pretty sure they don't really change that much. I mean, they change a little bit, but who knows? Maybe for Halloween next year, if I can't find something else, I may go through it again on a different setting. We'll see. We'll see. After that, I played Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, which is currently getting uploaded to YouTube, and I think it... by the time this video goes live, I think it is like the last or close to the last of the videos getting uploaded. But if not, then certainly in the first week of the year, that playthrough should be up. What can I say about Castlevania? I love the series, and I haven't streamed this particular game yet for Twitch, and I was like, come on, let's go stream Order of Ecclesia. That's one of my favorite games in the franchise. But I like a lot of the games in the franchise. I like Portal of Ruin, I like Symphony of the Night, I like Area and Dawn of Sorrow, and I like Circle of the Moon, and there's so many different ways they implemented the Metroidvania style. Like, sure, you have one time you find weapons, one time you find souls, or you find glyphs, but there's always like this going back and forth between all the new areas and finding new stuff. It's just something I really enjoy. The Metroidvania series, or the Metroidvania category in games, is one of my favorites because I love the idea of having a sort of open area where stuff is not accessible until you go further and then backtrack, and then I really like that sort of game. So I think the next Castlevania game I will stream is Harmony of Dissonance, which is a very underrated or even disliked game in the community, I think. It's not as popular or doesn't show up as much as some of the other games, but I want to give it a chance. So at some point next year, I will stream Harmony of Dissonance for the GBA. That will be interesting because I want to give the game some love. It's not bad, but far from it. It's pretty good. But it gets a lot of hate, or not hate. It's not as liked. If I talk to other people who like Castlevania games, I usually hear Symphony of the Night, or I hear Aerial Dawn of Sorrow, or I hear Port of Ruin, or Ecclesia, or like if they don't like Metroidvania, I hear like the older games like Castlevania 3, Castlevania 4, or Bloodlines, or even Simon's Quest. Some people love that game, but don't hear a lot about Harmony of Dissonance. So I'm going to get that. I'm going to give that game some love next year. So yeah, if you are watching this video and you do like Harmony of Dissonance, post a comment. Let me know. Because I would love to hear some people actually liking that game. I haven't really found anyone who does. So, and the last game I streamed this year was Lost Kingdoms. That playthrough won't be up until next year, but oh my goodness, I love Lost Kingdoms. It is one of my favorite GameCube games ever. And the sequel, which I will stream starting Saturday. This Saturday, so 2nd of January, I will... No, wait, 1st of January, New Year's Day. Then I will start on Lost Kingdoms 2. So if you want to see that game, hop onto my Twitch. But yeah, Lost Kingdoms is so good. And it's so unique. I don't know any other game where you like have a top-down or third-person walking around throwing cards battle game where you level up your cards and evolve and get new ones and change your deck, and it's so unique. I've never seen any game do that before, and it was when I first got it, I was like, wow, this is really something else. And I love the game itself, but the music, the monster design, the areas, it's just so colorful and so unique, and so much like so much love went into making this game and its sequel. Like, you could really tell people loved making the monsters and loved making the areas. And sure, the story is wonky, a bit strange. It's I guess typical for a JRPG, although it's not really a JRPG in that sense because there's not a whole lot of leveling. It's just card XP. That's it. It doesn't really happen anything else, but it has that sort of JRPG-like story vibe to it, like with gods and destiny and beings interfering with each other, and it just feels so otherworldly. But I like it. It is really different, and I cannot recommend this game enough. If you have a GameCube, or if you even have a GameCube emulator, try and get your hands on this game and the sequel. I've come to know that they're really rare and they're kind of hard to find, but they're really they're really worth the effort. They are both excellent games. But yeah, I will start. The first game I will do next year, Lost Kingdoms 2. There are a couple of other games that I have down in the pipeline I will briefly mention, aside from the ones I already mentioned, like Harmony of Dissonance and Jackrabbit 2 and such. But I want to play another PlayStation 1 game, and I think it's Legacy of Kain is on my list. Let me get my list real quick. Let's just get that real quick. To-do list, here we go. Oh yeah. I want to revisit Hexplore because it got recently released on GOG, on GOG.com. Which was phenomenal because that game is so unknown and I'm a big fan of it. And I played through it, I think 2 years ago? 2 years ago. I played it through it on Twitch and it crashed a lot because it's so damn unstable. But it got re-released on GOG and I played through it and it actually is smoother. It is without crashes, I hope. I'm going to replay through that game at some point next year. I can't wait to do that again. And I hope that... I'm really surprised, by the way. Quick note, the Hexplore playthrough on my YouTube channel is getting a lot of traffic and a lot of comments, and I love that because the game is so unknown, and I'm really, really, really thankful for so many people actually commenting on that video. So thank you for supporting the Hexplore game in such a way, and I cannot thank you guys enough. And I will play through it again sometime next year. I might even like make a little announcement video or something for people watching. Like, hey, I'm going through the game again, and I hope to see a lot of people on Twitch there, because my God, I'm so happy that this game is getting some love. I love it when I play a game that is really unknown and it's getting a lot of traffic and becoming more popular. That makes me really happy. A few other games next year. I'm probably gonna go through the entire Lands of Lore trilogy. I've only played the first one, but now I'm going to go through the first one, the second, and the third, all on Twitch. Because I have never played the second and the third game before, and they're on GOG, so I could get the trilogy and then just go through all of them. I'm really excited for that. I already mentioned Legacy of Kain. Quest for Glory series will happen. The Thief Path, which is the only one I haven't streamed yet. I've played through the Magician one, and I got a Paladin the second time, and now I'm going for Thief. Technically, I need to do Fighter, but Fighter is boring, so I'll just do Thief. And that's the last path I really want to do. So sometime next year you'll see that. Anything else? There are a couple of other games, but those are the ones I really have lined up for now. Oh, Banjo-Kazooie will also happen at some point, because I just like that little game. And I probably will do it around October, which is, I think, 2 or even 3-year anniversary when they got into Smash. I think it's 3 years by now, damn. No, it's 2 years, right? Is that fast already? Oh, man. But I like Banjo-Kazooie a lot. So, in honor of getting them into Smash, I think it's 2 years now. 2 years ago, I will go through that game and maybe its sequel as well at some time next year. And I think, as far as like what happens in the first year, the first half of the year, that's pretty much it. There's a lot more on the list, but that's pretty much it for now. So, thank you all very much for watching my content, either on Twitch or YouTube or both. Thank you for the many comments, for the support, for being there. And yeah, I will see you all back in 2022 when we play some more games. So stay healthy, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.